Have you ever wondered if the little changes in your body, like feeling more tired than usual, or noticing your skin isn't the same, might be your kidneys crying for help? Most people don't think twice, but here's the truth. By the time you actually feel the warning signs of kidney failure, it may already be too late. In America right now, more than 88,000 people are living with end-stage kidney disease. Without a transplant or dialysis, their bodies simply cannot survive. The costs are crushing over $40,000 a year just to stay alive on dialysis, and the waiting list for a new kidney is longer than most people can imagine. That's why early detection isn't just helpful, it's the difference between life and death. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and in this video, I want to walk you through 9 silent but powerful warning signs your kidneys might be failing. These signs often go unnoticed, brushed off as fatigue, stress, or aging until the damage is already severe. But if you learn to spot them now, you can act before it's too late. We'll also explore the essential tests that can reveal the truth about your kidney health, so you won't be blindsided when it matters most. Every story I share, every number you hear is meant to give you the knowledge and the power to protect yourself and the people you love. So if you've ever felt something off in your body and wondered whether it's serious, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you won't just know the 9 signs, you'll know how to fight back and take control of your health before dialysis or transplants ever enter the picture. Let's start with one of the most overlooked but dangerous red flags: persistent fatigue. I'm not talking about being a little tired after a long day. I'm talking about waking up exhausted, dragging through your mornings, and feeling like even the simplest chores drain every ounce of energy. Many patients dismiss this as just aging or stress from life, but in reality, it can be one of the first cries for help from your kidneys. I remember a patient, a retired carpenter, who told me he thought his tiredness was just part of getting older. He'd nap twice a day, yet never felt refreshed. After some tests, it turned out his kidneys were no longer filtering waste properly. The toxins were literally building up in his blood, poisoning his energy from the inside out. That constant exhaustion wasn't laziness or age, it was kidney failure sneaking in silently. Here's the science behind it: when your kidneys weaken, they stop producing enough of a vital hormone called erythropoietin. This hormone helps your body create red blood cells, the ones that carry oxygen. Without enough of them, you become anemic, your muscles starve for oxygen, and fatigue becomes overwhelming. Studies show that more than 60% of patients with advanced kidney disease experience this type of anemia-driven exhaustion. So if you've noticed that your tiredness feels different, heavier, and doesn't improve with rest, it may not be just age. It could be your kidneys sending a warning. But here's the twist: fatigue is only one piece of the puzzle. You need to know the next symptom because it reveals what happens when your body's chemistry goes completely off balance. And trust me, that's where the pain really begins. But just knowing this first sign isn't enough, because another hidden danger is waiting. Now, if constant fatigue wasn't enough, the next warning sign hits even harder, literally in your muscles. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night with your legs twisting in pain or feeling sudden spasms that stop you in your tracks. Many people laugh it off as dehydration or just getting older, but recurring cramps can be your kidneys waving a giant red flag. I once spoke with a woman in her 60s who swore she stretched every morning, drank water faithfully, yet still had unbearable calf cramps almost every night. When we checked her labs, her potassium and calcium levels were wildly unbalanced. Her kidneys simply weren't keeping her electrolytes stable. What felt like a random nuisance was actually her body's chemistry falling apart. Here's the science: your kidneys regulate critical electrolytes like potassium, calcium, and magnesium. When kidney function drops, these electrolytes swing dangerously high or low. Dialysis patients, for example, often develop alkalosis, a state where the blood becomes too alkaline, which further triggers cramping. Research shows that over 50% of patients with advanced kidney disease report painful cramps, especially during or after dialysis sessions. The good news is solutions exist. Doctors may adjust medications or even add magnesium during dialysis to ease cramping. But the key is not to ignore it. If your muscles are screaming for no clear reason, your kidneys may already be struggling. And here's the part most people miss: muscle cramps are just the body's preview. The real storm shows up when your kidneys can't clear out excess fluid and your body begins to swell. But only knowing this second sign won't protect you, because the next one is even more alarming. If cramps are the body's way of whispering, swelling is when it starts shouting. Have you ever looked down at your ankles after a long day and thought, Why do my shoes feel tighter? Occasional puffiness might not seem serious, but when swelling in your feet, legs, or even hands becomes routine, it's often a silent cry from your kidneys. I recall a gentleman in his late 50s who came to the clinic convinced he had circulation problems. His socks left deep marks around his ankles and his rings no longer fit. What he didn't realize was that his kidneys were no longer clearing out excess salt and water. The fluid had nowhere to go, so it pooled in his tissues, creating that swelling he brushed off as bad veins. Here's the science: healthy kidneys act like precision filters, removing the right amount of sodium and fluid every day. But when they fail, sodium builds up, pulling water into tissues and creating edema. Studies show that over 70% of patients with advanced kidney disease report noticeable swelling, often as one of the first visible signs. The danger is bigger than discomfort. Excess fluid can strain the heart, raise blood pressure, and even lead to congestive heart failure if ignored. The first step in managing edema is usually reducing sodium intake. Most doctors recommend staying under 2,300 milligrams per day. Diuretic medications may also help flush out extra water. But the real solution is catching the kidney damage early, before fluid overload becomes life-threatening. And here's where things get even more concerning. While swelling is something you can see, the next sign is sneaky or striking at your appetite and slowly robbing your body of the nutrients it needs to survive. But just knowing this third warning isn't enough, because the fourth one reveals a hidden danger that most people overlook. Now, while swelling is something you can see, the next warning sign is harder to notice. It hides in your eating habits. Loss of appetite might sound minor, but when your body suddenly feels full after just a few bites, or food that once made your mouth water now feels unappealing, it can be your kidneys quietly shutting down. I remember a woman in her early 60s who told me, "Doctor, even the smell of my favorite soup makes me nauseous now." She thought it was stress or aging, but her blood work revealed a different story. Her kidneys weren't filtering toxins properly, so waste products were building up in her bloodstream. That chemical overload was sending signals to her stomach and brain, tricking her into thinking she was full, or even making her feel sick at the sight of food. Here's the science: as kidney disease advances, toxins, like urea, accumulate in the blood. This buildup can slow down digestion, disrupt hormones that regulate hunger, and even cause a condition called diabetic gastroparesis in people with diabetes, where the stomach empties, food painfully slow, leaving you bloated, nauseous, and uninterested in meals. Research shows that up to 40% of patients with chronic kidney disease report significant appetite loss, which often accelerates malnutrition and muscle wasting. Doctors sometimes use appetite stimulants, but the key is nutritional strategy: smaller, frequent meals, kidney-friendly foods, and close monitoring of protein and fluid intake. Because without proper nutrition, your body weakens faster than the disease itself. And here's where things turn truly unbearable: when those toxins don't just dull your appetite, but begin to creep out through your skin, leaving you with an itch that no amount of scratching can satisfy. But only knowing this fourth sign won't save you, because the fifth one is far more relentless. If losing your appetite feels frustrating, imagine living with an itch that never goes away. Not the kind you can scratch and forget, but a deep, burning irritation that crawls across your skin day and night. Many people don't realize this constant itching is one of the clearest signals that the kidneys are no longer clearing waste properly. I once met a man who told me, "Doctor, it feels like ants are crawling under my skin." He scratched until his arms were red, but nothing gave relief. The truth was heartbreaking. His failing kidneys were allowing toxins to build up in his bloodstream, and those toxins were literally seeping through his skin, triggering relentless itching. Here's the science: when kidneys fail, phosphorus and urea accumulate in the blood. This overload triggers inflammation, irritates nerve endings in the skin, and causes what doctors call uremic pruritus. Studies show that over 40% of dialysis patients report severe itching, often bad enough to disrupt sleep and destroy quality of life. The imbalance in immune response and opioid receptors in the skin also plays a role, making the itch nearly impossible to calm with ordinary creams. The good news: treatments exist. Adjusting dialysis schedules, medications like gabapentin, or even light therapy can reduce symptoms. But the real solution is managing kidney health before the itching reaches this stage. Because once the itch sets in, it's more than a skin problem, it's a sign of systemic collapse. And if toxins can affect your skin this badly, imagine what they do to your lungs. That's right, the next warning sign is breathlessness, a terrifying symptom that makes every inhale feel like a struggle. But just knowing about itching isn't enough, because the sixth danger could threaten your very ability to breathe. If constant itching feels unbearable, the next warning sign is far more frightening, struggling just to catch your breath. Picture climbing a single flight of stairs and gasping as if you'd run a marathon, or waking up in the middle of the night feeling like you're suffocating. This isn't just aging lungs. It's often a direct consequence of failing kidneys. I'll never forget a patient in his late 60s who came in saying, "Doctor, I can't sleep lying down anymore. I feel like I'm drowning." What was happening was terrifying but simple. His kidneys weren't filtering properly, and the excess fluid was backing up into his lungs, causing pulmonary edema. Every breath felt like he was inhaling water instead of air. Here's the science: weakened kidneys allow sodium and fluid to accumulate in the body. When this fluid enters the lungs, it causes shortness of breath, also called dyspnea. On top of that, kidney disease often brings anemia, meaning fewer red blood cells carry oxygen. Without oxygen, muscles, including the respiratory muscles, tire quickly, making breathing even harder. Studies estimate that nearly 50% of patients with advanced kidney disease experience shortness of breath, often linked to both fluid overload and anemia. Treatment depends on the cause: dialysis to remove excess fluid, medications to manage anemia, or oxygen therapy to relieve the immediate strain. But here's the truth: by the time you're struggling to breathe, your kidneys are already in deep crisis. And if toxins can rob you of air, they can just as easily steal your mind. Because the next warning sign doesn't just affect your body, it attacks your memory, your focus, and even your identity. But knowing about breathlessness alone isn't enough, because the seventh symptom may quietly take away who you are. If struggling to breathe feels terrifying, the next sign strikes even closer to home when your own mind starts slipping away. Imagine sitting in your living room, forgetting where you put your keys, or worse, forgetting the names of people you love. Occasional forgetfulness is normal, but when memory loss and confusion become routine, it may not be aging. It could be your kidneys quietly poisoning your brain. One of my patients, a retired teacher, told me she could no longer follow the plot of her favorite books. She thought it was just getting old, but her blood told another story. Her kidneys weren't clearing out toxins, and those waste products were flooding her brain, clouding her focus, and slowing her thinking. It wasn't dementia, it was kidney failure manifesting in her memory. Here's the science: when kidneys fail, toxins like urea and creatinine accumulate in the bloodstream, cross into the brain, and disrupt nerve signaling. Anemia makes things worse by reducing oxygen supply to brain cells. Add in high blood pressure, damaging small blood vessels in the brain, and the result is what doctors call cognitive impairment. Studies show that up to 40% of patients with advanced kidney disease suffer from concentration problems, decision-making struggles, or even dementia-like symptoms. The encouraging news is that early intervention matters. Managing blood pressure, treating anemia, and in some cases kidney transplantation can significantly improve cognitive function. But here's the catch: once toxins affect your brain, they don't stop there. They can even change the way your mouth tastes and the way your breath smells, revealing yet another hidden danger. Because knowing about memory loss is only part of the story, and the eighth warning sign is one most people find shocking. If losing your memory feels unsettling, the next sign is downright disturbing. It shows up every time you open your mouth. Imagine leaning in to speak with someone and noticing their face twist because your breath smells strangely like urine. Or picture eating your favorite meal only to find every bite tastes metallic, like chewing on coins. These aren't random quirks, they're clear signs your kidneys are no longer clearing toxins from your blood. I remember one patient who said, "Doctor, it feels like everything I eat tastes like metal, and my family keeps asking if I brushed my teeth." The heartbreaking truth. It wasn't dental hygiene. His kidneys had lost so much filtering power that ammonia and urea were backing up into his bloodstream, seeping into his saliva, and even escaping through his breath. Here's the science: when kidney function collapses, toxins, such as ammonia, accumulate, leading to what doctors call uremic fever, a distinct urine-like odor on the breath. At the same time, changes in saliva composition and acidity cause dysgeusia, that metallic taste that ruins every meal. Research confirms that more than 30% of patients with end-stage kidney disease experience these oral symptoms, often long before they realize their kidneys are failing. Solutions include using bicarbonate-based mouthwash, maintaining strict oral hygiene, and most importantly, managing kidney disease early to prevent toxin overload. Because once your breath and taste are altered, it's a signal your whole body is saturated with waste. And if toxins can change how you taste food, imagine how they can change the very color and texture of your skin. But just recognizing this 8th warning isn't enough, because the 9th one is the most visible, and it may shock you when you see it in the mirror. If strange breath and metallic taste weren't alarming enough, the 9th and final warning sign is one you can't ignore. It stares back at you in the mirror. Your skin begins to change in ways that no cream or cosmetic can fix. It might become pale from anemia, yellowish from waste buildup, or even darker in patches because of hormonal shifts. Many patients also describe skin that's so dry and cracked it feels impossible to soothe. These aren't surface-level problems. They're visible proof that your kidneys are failing on the inside. One of my patients, a woman in her early 60s, told me she stopped going to social events because she was embarrassed by her skin. What she didn't realize was that the toxins her kidneys couldn't remove were literally leaking into her tissues, changing her appearance day by day. And while lotions, sunscreen, or dermatology treatments might offer temporary relief, they don't address the root cause, the failing kidneys beneath. Here's the science when kidneys can no longer filter properly. Substances like urochromes, the same compounds that color urine yellow, begin to accumulate in the skin, altering its tone. Reduced oil gland activity leads to xerosis, extreme dryness. Studies show about 40% of patients with advanced kidney disease develop noticeable skin changes. These visible signs are your body's way of shouting that the disease has progressed too far. And this brings us to the heart of today's message. Spotting these 9 signs is only the beginning. What matters most is what you do next, because knowing the warnings gives you power. The power to act early, protect your kidneys, and avoid dialysis before it's too late. You've now learned the 9 most important warning signs of kidney failure. And here's the truth: you don't have to face this battle alone or feel powerless. The first step to protecting your kidneys is awareness, and simply by watching this far, you've already taken control of your health in a way most people never do. So here's my advice: listen to your body, don't ignore the small signals, and if you recognize any of these symptoms, talk to your doctor and get tested. Knowledge is your best defense. And because your health matters to me, I encourage you to save this video so you can come back to it whenever you need a reminder. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you'll always receive the latest medical insights and life-saving kidney health tips. And finally, remember, this kidney disease may be silent, but your choices are powerful. With early action, smart lifestyle changes, and the right medical care, you can slow, prevent, and in some cases, even reverse damage. There is always hope, and there is always something you can do today that your future self will thank you for.